We are joined with us today with Heather again, Heather K. And our beautiful model is here today. Today's topic is going to be about women of color. Not just African American women. This is Indian women, Mediterranean women, darker complexion Hispanic women, So hopefully we will be able to answer all of your questions and just really be able to explore the full scope of how to color match your skin, okay? As you know, Luminess Air has many corrective colors for any type of skin tone, okay? They are perfectly color matched. You can match from the lightest, kind of middle of the road woman of color to the very dark woman. So what we're going to do is really talk about how to pick out your color, number one, and if you need to color match, how to do that, or I'm sorry, color blend, how to do that, okay? Very good. So again, we do have our model here. She definitely is, middle of the road. And then we're going to use myself as an example too, okay? I'm not light, I'm not dark. I'm kind of in the middle, and hopefully I'll be able to give you some tips for women that are lighter than myself and darker than myself in order to color match your skin tone, all right? So we're going to do just like we do with all of our other webcasts. We're going to start off with the very basics of how to use Luminous Air, okay? Which would be starting off with using your moisturizer, okay? Your moisturizing primer. It's still very important no matter what skin tone you are to use our primer for, the efficacy of your foundation, okay? Very good. So we're going to start off by doing just that. 1, 2, 3, 4 drops of your primer. We're going to turn on our airbrush, and just very lightly, we're going to prime her face, under her eyes, on her forehead, making sure that we get the face nice and primed, okay? We're also going to talk about how to cover blemishes and things like that for dark skin, okay? Now we're going to go to our concealer, our Luminous Air concealer that everyone should have. Everyone should have, again, at least 2 colors of our concealer. Remember, we talked about that. You should have the color that most closely matches your skin. That's maybe a little bit lighter, 1 shade lighter. And then you should also have our Luminous Air brightener, which would be C1 when you go to lumcos.com. Okay, so we're going to use C4 for our model. Okay, if you are a woman of color, you're going to probably be using anywhere between C2, C4, and C5. C3 would probably not be a good choice because it has so much kind of pink undertones or peach undertones. It may work though. If you have a more fair complexion and you have a lot of darkness under your skin, then guess what? That C3 may be absolutely great for you because that apricot peach undertone that C3 has does help to camouflage the darkness, okay? But if you're a little bit darker, middle of the road to darker, you would definitely be a C4, okay? And when I say middle of the road, we have 12 colors, okay? F1 through F12. Middle of the road would be anywhere from 6 on down, okay? So I'm 7 and 8. Our model here is 7, so that's pretty much middle of the road, okay? Very good. We're going to start off with our concealer, okay? We're going to liberally put concealer under her eye and right under her brow to really brighten up that whole under eye area, okay? And then look up to the ceiling for me, sweetheart. There you go. We're just going to work that in, okay? Never want to rub. You never want to rub because rubbing tends to make the product absorb into the skin, and we don't want that. We want the product to dry down nicely onto the skin and actually be visible. Put a little bit on top of the eyelid, especially if you're a woman of color. You may tend to have darker lids as well as darker under eye circles, okay? So put a little bit of concealer on that lid to prime your eyelid for whatever color that you'll be putting on your eyelid, okay? See how nice and bright that looks? nice and bright, okay? Very good, very good. All right? So now what we're going, oh my God, look at the difference already. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now what we're going to do is, I think I'm going to do both sides. I'm just going to do both sides. I was only going to do one half of her face, ladies and gentlemen, all my makeup maidens out there. I was only going to do one half of her face, but I think I want the big reveal. I want the big reveal for her. So we're going to do her whole face. Okay, look up to the ceiling for me. And obviously, you know, you can use your finger or a sponge. I would say if you're a makeup artist, use a sponge for your clients. If you are, you know, doing makeup at home, obviously you can use your finger. Whatever you feel the most comfortable with using. Okay. Very good, very good. So we are now going to use F7 to start off with for her, okay? F7 has a lot of yellow and kind of orange undertones. Do you ever notice, like, personally, myself, I have yellow undertones, okay? But when I go out into the sun, I get red, okay? And that is the case for a lot of women of color. Even if they have red undertones, when they go out into the sun, they get even more red, okay? So for my women of color that tend to have yellow undertones and get red when they go out in the sun, yellow and red makes orange. So sometimes you tend to have a kind of orangey look to your skin. I think I do. I mean, you can obviously see yellow undertones, but I think that, you know, when I'm finding makeups to match my skin, if I have a lot of, if the makeup has a lot of yellow in it, I tend to look sick. You know, I tend to look like I have jaundice or something. Or if it has a lot of red in it, it tends to look too red and my face looks like too made up. So I have to go with a makeup that actually has a perfect blend of both colors in it. And that's what our F7 has. It has a blend of both colors, perfectly blended, so that you actually are getting that perfect kind of middle of the road color, not too yellow, not too red, okay? So if you have any questions about what color you are, if you're like, you know what, I'm not light skinned, but I don't have a light complexion, but I don't have a dark complexion, you probably are F7, okay? Very good. Or F6, like we talked about, which kind of starts the middle of the road there, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drops, okay? Start off with about 5 drops. And I'm going to start on this side so that we can see a difference from the two sides, okay?
That's also the best place to test the color at for your color match.
That's right. Very good. Great, great, great. On your cheek would be probably the best place. That's your focal point. When people are looking at you, and a lot of people have different ways of color matching. Some people color match on their arms. They color match in various places. But guess what? When a person looks at you, your eyes, the middle of the face, that's your focal point, okay? And then any type of color adjusting that you need to do, you can do that by blending in another color. But the middle of your face is where you exhibit the most color. I mean, that's where you exhibit your true color, okay? So I would go with this part of the face, and then if you tend to be more warm around the edges of your face, then you can adjust your color by using a bronzer or a darker color foundation, okay? Very good. Thank you. So now we're going to just, in circular motions, and remember how we tackle blemishes, you guys, kind of come in a little bit closer, covered, I love it. Come in a little bit closer, covered. Come in a little bit closer, covered.
That's the same technique you would use to cover up freckles on darker skin as well, correct?
Absolutely, and actually freckles cover up a lot better than blemishes do with Luminess Air. So all of my, you know, clients out there with freckles, or, you know, makeup mavens out there that have always wanted to know, how do I cover freckles? When my client wants their freckles covered, I can never cover it with conventional makeup. I can never cover it, you know, properly to where it doesn't look like they have on, you know, a pancake makeup. Luminous Air gives the most flawless coverage, natural looking coverage that you can get with any makeup for freckles, okay? And I mean, you know, that's why airbrush makeup has been used for years on camera. You know, I know you don't think that every newscaster, every anchor, every reporter, or even actress has flawless skin. They don't, okay? So even if it's not blemishes, it may be freckles, you know? So, and a lot of the lighter skin or fair complected anchors and news reporters definitely have freckles, but you never see them. So it's definitely airbrush. Now look how beautiful. Look how absolutely beautiful that is. She's stunning. I love it. And it's such a perfect match. I mean, I love when you can do a color match and then you take a look at the neck and you're like, oh my God, how perfect. It's like so flawless from you know, from the neck up. The continuity of color is just amazing. Turn to the side here. Look at that. Look at that. It's like I can't wait to do the other side because this side is so perfect. You remember she had some blemishes going on there. She had some blemishes, some discoloration going on there. It's flawless. I'm going to put a little bit more here.
The skin
Even
looks
that out.
so even.
It looks so even. I love it. And then turn to the other side for us. Take a look. So now we're going to even out the other side. Okay? And remember, less is more. Less is more. Small circular motions. If you're needing more makeup, you just add a couple of more drops to fine tune everything. But really, those first 5 drops you use to kind of test and fine tune and attack some of these blemishes. And then it's up to you how much more you need. Because really, after you've attacked those blemishes, you really can just leave the skin alone.
Right.
You really can just kind of, the color matching is so flawless and it pixelates the pigment onto the skin so flawlessly that you can do a spot treatment. You can treat Luminous Air as like a concealer and do a spot treatment. Meaning, let's say she had a little blemish right there. Spot gone, spot gone, spot gone. That's the way you can do Luminous Air without it looking like, oh my God, did she try to really just cover something with concealer? And don't you get that with concealers?
You
do. It's almost like you can't use a concealer by itself because, I mean, unless you just have that perfect skin tone that will match the concealer. They almost never match.
You think you can show everybody how far you're pulling back on the throttle when you're doing that spot treatment?
Absolutely.
You're just barely touching it.
Absolutely. I am barely touching, okay? Like that. It's called stippling. Stippling. Stipple, stipple, stipple. That is the way you do coverage. That's the way you do fine tuning for blemishes.
And freckles.
And freckles, okay? Very good. Look at that. That is insane. I love it. Her skin is absolutely flawless. Now what we're going to do, how are we on time? Good. Now what we're going to do really quickly is 1, 2, 3 drops of the F6 or the F5 or the F5, okay, for highlighting. I highlight with F5. Do a close-up, get a close-up of me.
You're so pretty.
I highlight with F5, you guys. So what you see down the bridge of my nose and what you see here and here is F5, okay? It's F5, and then I go in with my F7. Okay, then I go in with my F7, all right? So here, 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 F5, I go in with my F7, and then I go in with a little bronzer, okay? So that's what we're gonna do with her. We're gonna go in with our F5, and we're just gonna go gently down the bridge of the nose to contour, to highlight, under the eye area, and on top of the cheekbone. Done. Quickly, quickly, quickly. And then a little bit on the chin.
Wish we had
Look
a
at that.
before and after show.
I wish we did
It's
too.
amazing.
It's amazing before and after. It's amazing. Beautiful. I mean, I can't get over the highlighting. I mean, everyone should look this highlighted. I mean, talk about, you know, having that J-Lo glow. You know, everyone should always be highlighted in those areas. Okay? Now we're going to do some of our blush. I'm going to use some B8 on her. B8 or 9?
B8.
B8. Just a soft.
Right.
B8 is a nice violet color. I think is it violet or pink?
Berry.
Berry. B8 is berry. You would think that I would know these names because I named them. But 1, 2, 3. All right. And then she's going to smile and just right on the apple of the cheek. Right on the apple of the cheek.
Just a nice,
oh my God, so beautiful. I love it. Now we're going to put a little bit of that on her lips just to give her some color. That's right, just a little tint.
What a natural, healthy looking makeup.
Beautiful. It is. It just looks really natural, really healthy. And now we're going to do a little bit of our bronzer on her eyes.
And the bronzer comes in your starter kit, you guys. So this is a great eyeshadow tip. Watch this.
Just a little bit of bronzer on her eyes. Open. Oh, that did it. That did it. And you know what? She had a little bit of darkness on her eyelid.
It's gone.
And it's totally gone. It's totally gone. It looks absolutely gorgeous. She looks absolutely flawless. Okay? Now what you can do is if we just wanted, we can do a little powder. But honestly, for a day look, I wouldn't do powder. For a night look, do powder. Let's see. Beautiful. See the difference in the two sides? And then she has a little bit of a, oily skin, so go to loomcost.com and purchase our translucent powder. Look up to the ceiling for me. And that will really, any type of, oily skin that you're experiencing, you really will be able to control it with our powder. Look how beautiful. She looks so gorgeous. She's shining. Her skin is glowing. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh man, I really do wish we had a before and after.
I do too.
I really do. And as you can see, Divya is Indian. She's a woman of color. And as you can see, I also am a woman of color. Just like I also am, a man of color, and I do wear product. Obviously, I do a lot of television. I do a lot of media. So, it's very important for me to always have the correct color and the correct color match. And that's one of the things that I get probably most often is that people are like, you have it on? You're wearing it right now? I'm like, yeah, I'm about to go on TV in 10 minutes. Of course I have some product on. But that is just how natural it looks. It looks absolutely flawless on, all skin types, from the lightest porcelain to the darkest ebony. And mixing colors is so completely easy. I mean, we talked about that. We talked about blending. We talked about, mixing from here to here. If you have to mix colors, she was the perfect F7, okay? But let's say in the summer, she gets a little darker. And remember we talked about myself. I have a lot of darkness kind of going around this area of the face. We're going to get a little bit of F8. Put a couple of drops of F8 in there. And just on the outer parts of her face, not only will this give her a beautiful contour, the way I do mine, why I'm always looking like contoured up, is because I do my F8 around my forehead, my cheekbone, and my jawline. Take a look at that. See, did that not give it? It actually gave it more depth. I'm glad that we did that. It actually gave the look more depth. You see that?
Yes.
That's absolutely stunning. Flawless. I love it. I love it. And then, one last tip before we go. F10 for my women of color really is, you may think that you don't need it, but you do need it.
You do.
Okay, F10 is the perfect contour color. Women, Caucasian women have their bronzers, their dark bronzers, their light, medium, dark bronzers. Well, guess what? We have our light, medium, dark bronzers. This was the medium bronzer on her. Now we're going to do the dark contour on her for her cheekbones and jawline. Take a look. Turn your head this way, sweetheart. Look at that. Look at how that just defined that area of her face. and then turn on this side. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit more. 1, 2, 3. Look at how that just defined her face. Beautiful. Now turn. There you go. Beautifully defined face. You can go a little bit there, under, and that's it. That's how you contour. Okay, that same color, close. Give her some drama on her eyes. There you go. From your day look to your night look. I love it. Absolutely gorgeous. So hopefully I gave you some tips on, your staple colors that you need, okay, which is, your foundation color and how to color match that. Hopefully I gave you some information on how to highlight, okay, very important for women of color because we are darker. Our face does not reflect the light as much, so we need to be making sure that we look as beautiful and three-dimensional in person as we do, in pictures and things, even more important. So make sure that you go to loomcost.com, check out some of those products that we talked about today. If you have any more questions, Heather will be here to answer any of your lingering questions. Thank you so much for joining us today. Mark Harvey signing out.